Mimosa is a project of web platform for collaborative open science. You start by publishing a research question. Once you have your question, you can add your hypothesis as an answer to this question, and anyone else on the platform can also add their own hypothesis. Then to this hypothesis, you attach experimental protocols, data, analysis, and all other users can also contribute to your research by adding their own experiments and analysis. At each step of your research, you can get feedback through ratings and comments so that you can start the next step of your research on the right foot. For each research question, the analyses contributed by users are weighted and aggregated so that you can see whether there is a consensus on this question and how strong this consensus is. For each question, you can also see supporting and opposing hypotheses and how they relate to each other. Contributions are broken down in minimal units of question, hypothesis, experimental protocol, data, and analysis. Each of these contributions is its own unit that can be rated and commented on so that you can improve, for example, your experimental protocol before you actually do the experiment. You can actively look for collaborators when publishing a contribution by specifying what kind of specialists you are looking for, and this tag will appear at the top of your contribution. There are three big principles that are important to the Mimosa platform. The first is micro-publication. It's the idea that you publish your research in steps instead of publishing one big paper when the research is basically finished. So instead of having to work basically in secret, you can share your research when you are ready, when you need feedback from the community, or just when you think the community will benefit from your ideas. The second principle is incremental improvement. Right now, especially with journal papers, when you have published your paper, you cannot modify it. You can try to publish a modification or a correction, but this correction is basically invisible and most of the time is never cited. With arXiv it's different. You can publish new versions of your paper, but the ideas in the paper are not expected to change too much. With Mimosa, it's fine if you change your ideas, it's fine if you change opinions, or if you change your methods, or if somebody points out a mistake and then you decide to correct it. That way you can try to get the best version of your contribution before continuing with your research. And even if you publish a correction long after publishing the first version of your contribution, that's also okay. Contributions are tracked through version control, and you can always publish several ideas in parallel, just to find which one is the more original or the more correct, or just the most interesting. There are at least two other projects that are currently alive and quite similar to Mimosa. The first is Hypergraph. It's a peer-to-peer platform to share the steps of your research with your own network and export your research in paper form easily. Octopus is a web platform that is currently in beta version, where micro-publications are also linked to each other. Mimosa supports open data, open contributions, and open feedback. And it will be an open source platform so that the code and API will be made available publicly, and the community can always propose improvements. Here are some ideas for future versions of Mimosa. Microfunding, where you can give any amount of money you want to projects that you think are interesting. Cross-evaluation, where papers that you cite are displayed along with how well they were rated by the community. Knowledge graphs, and of course an open API.